Morning guys, today is Mortgage Monday and I'm here, Katrina Cascondenis with Keller Williams Select and April Palacios with
Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation.
Thank you. And today we'll talk about employment history, your employment history, and what is important to know about history of employment for your loan qualification.
Yep. So a lot of people think that you have to be employed with the same employer for 2 years.
Yes.
That is not entirely accurate. Now, there are some things that have to still be reviewed if you've only been with your employer for a short amount of time. But what is important to know is if you are self-employed, receive a 1099, that's what makes you self-employed, or a W-2, the rules are different for each opportunity.
Yes.
So for 1099 people that are considered self-employed, we are typically looking for a 2-year history on the IRS tax return, not just self-employed in general, but actual claimed with the IRS. However, there is opportunity where we can review 12 full months on the IRS tax return in order to use your self-employment history. So it's circumstantial. Of course, you'd want to talk with the mortgage lender to learn what your options are. And then when it comes to W-2 employment, let's say you have a 2-year overall history. It could be that you worked for a whole year and then maybe you took a year off and now you've been back in the workforce for 6 months. So you don't technically have a full 2 years unless you can go backwards and find all history for previous employment. So it could have been that you had that full year, you took a year off, and you're back 6 months. You might have to wait 6 months if you had not enough history to equal a total of 2 years of employment history. We would disregard the 1 year that you took off, and we would be able to kind of build it together to show what your stability is and your total time on the workforce in general. You asked me a question about different countries.
Yes, so because some of my clients, they're moving from overseas, and of course they have a lot of employment history over there. So can you somehow count that if they're here for last 6 months or 1 year?
Yeah, so it all depends on where, which country they're coming from and what documentation can be gathered. For example, I did a loan not too long ago for some of your clients. Yep. They relocated from Ukraine, and their paperwork was easy to get because of the employers that they had was able to document for us how long they had worked for them and the income that they earned, because every country has a different requirement in regards to how they require the filing of taxes, credit history, income documents. It's different, right?
Yes.
So it is circumstantial depending on where the information is gotten from and what can be gathered. If we cannot prove the prior history from the country of origin, then we would have to wait until we have enough history proven here.
Okay, so basically the first step is, and I know it, I just want you to know it. The first step is to contact April and to talk with her to explain your story. How long have you been here in North Carolina or in the United States? How do you work 1099 or W-2? And what is your employment history? And then based on your story, she'll advise you what is the best option for you.
Yes. So something else that is also to be kept in mind with that is, even if you're a W-2 wage earner, if you are not guaranteed a set number of hours per week and you receive a variable schedule, let's say, for example, 1 week you might work 36 hours, the next week you might work 48 hours, vice versa, right? Every week might vary for you. Well, if it's variable income, there is a minimum of 12 months that we need in order to average out the stability of the effective income we can use to qualify you. So some people do not know that. They're not aware of how it works. And they'll come in through the process, and a lot of times you tell us how much money you make, and then when we get the verification, it might show differently. So having the conversation up front, having a knowledgeable lender to help walk you through that process and ask the right questions is super important.
It is. Thank you, April, so much. Thank you, guys, and follow us to know more details about the lending process.
Bye.